Many people know about Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, or many other tabletop games that have become more popular lately. Allow you to expand your imagination and explore worlds that you could never possibly be in.
I'm going on an adventure!
Be a character that you never dreamed you could be. And fans have stepped forward to create a version of that just for Digimon. Digimon Digital Adventures is something I've talked about previously on the channel. It is a system where you are playing both a tamer and a Digimon going through the digital world. It has now entered into the beta for a version 2. Now, the core of the game is still there from what I've talked about previously, but there are a number of changes that have happened. So I want to dive into some of these changes. Today I'll be diving into the changes that are just for your character creation. There are so many changes that I can't just put it all in one video or else this would get insanely long. So let us now dive into the differences for creating your tamer, human,
Humans are coming.
or your Digimon, whether that's your lowliest baby to your mightiest mega. Usually you'll be starting at rookie, so we'll mostly be focusing on that. So, looking into your tamers. If you're looking for more information about how to make a tamer originally, I have a video here that will explain to you how it used to be done. So you have a baseline to compare to what I'm talking about now in this video. So I'm just going over the changes. I'm not going over the base rules that were in place beforehand. So for those of you who are experienced with the system, here's what you need to know. From the very get-go, there are no different tiers, at least in the player's handbook. If you go into the GM's companion, there are other alternate rules, but generally, you are just starting with 10 attribute points and 25 skill points. There's still the same caps. The starting cap is 5, as per usual for both skills and attributes, that you can only have one that is that high to start. And everything starts at 1. For your attributes, not for your skills. Inspiration has gotten a bit of a change, where it used to be you could only hold inspiration equal to your willpower. Now it is 2 plus your willpower, so there's a little more inspiration that you can hold. And there is a whole list of ways that you can gain inspiration now. Many of these may have been previously there. I know as a GM I am terrible about remembering to give out inspiration.
Oh, all these folks behind me are keen on y'all proving you can do the impossible. I'm here to prove that you can't.
So, the ways listed are, if you don't have one at the start of the session, you gain 1. If you reach a milestone, if you succeed on a torment check, if you use the negative of your major aspect, which I have never seen a player ever actually use, if you critically fail on any check that you make, if your party suffers a defeat in combat, or if you roll your lucky number. We'll talk about lucky number a little later because it's a brand new mechanic that just has been added. Now, uses for your inspiration are pretty similar. You can still use them 1-to-1 to increase your bonus on a skill check. You can use a whole bunch of points to add to a check, but Divine Protection has been changed slightly. It is now called Fate's Protection, and is free to use once per session. Then it will cost 2 inspiration points to use every time thereafter. Do keep in mind that you cannot use this when you're interceding, so you cannot use this to jump in front of your Digimon and take no damage. You can still do that, but you will take the brunt of the attack. Since we talked about lucky number, let me talk about it right now. You will pick any number between 1 and 6. Whenever you are rolling a skill check or anything that's not a pool check in which you're rolling, 30 dice, or when you're only rolling the 3 dice, if any 2 of those numbers are your lucky number, you gain an inspiration. Therefore, if you had a inspiration number of 1 because you think you're very unlucky, if you rolled 2 1s and a 4, that gives you a lucky number. If you roll a 1, a 3, and a 5, that does not give you a lucky number bonus because you must get at least 2. Torments are very similar to the way they were handled before, at least at character creation. It is recommended that you start with 7 marked boxes. Now this might be a little different from before because you used to mark boxes as you succeeded. Now instead you erase them. It's not really that big of a change, just slightly the opposite. So anything that has 3 or 4 marked boxes is now considered a minor torment, 6 to 7 is now considered a major, and 9 to 10 is terrible. So you will have to go out of your way to add more boxes, and check with your GM, because this obviously isn't following the general rules, if you wish to do something like this. Now we move on to the skills. All 5 attributes have remained the exact same, they are the same as they were before, but some skills has changed. The dodge skill has been changed and renamed to Evade for clarity, which I personally called it Evasion all the way back in version 1.4 because it was just confusing. so I'm very glad to see that they did that on their own. But now they've added also a few new skills to the list. These include Precision, which is based off agility or body. Yes, there are 2 different skills that can apply to either one. I'll get more into that in a moment. And this is used to represent the tamer's finer skills, such as throwing something, technique used while fighting, dexterous attacks such as crafting, or sleight of hand to slip something into someone's pocket.
Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise.
Awareness, which is just a renaming of perception as it was before, and Fortitude, which is a slightly different take on bravery, but though both still exist in the system, uses will and intelligence, and it's used to show a character's mental resistance to adversity and keeping cool when under pressure, where bravery is a reflection of the inside challenging the outside. Fortitude is a reflection of the inside rejecting the outside. Now, honestly, to me, this description is a little vague still. I'd have to really dig deep into figuring out what exactly the difference between these two are. But yes, as I was saying, every single skill is tied to 2 different attributes now, except for knowledge. That one's only tied to intelligence. So what this means is that both of these attributes can be used when making this roll. Typically, it will use the primary stab, though sometimes you may advocate for it or the GM will call for the other one. Or in extreme cases, you could use something else. But the biggest thing that this duality of a skill means is that whichever one of these attributes is higher indicates which one is your cap. So, if a skill such as Fortitude is based off of your will and intelligence, so you have 3 will power and 4 intelligence, that means you can only have up to 4 ranks in Fortitude, because it's based on the higher of the 2. The wound box formula for humans has changed. Wound boxes are your hit points basically in the game. For humans, it is now just 3 plus your endurance skill. You do not include the body or will, even though normally that's included in endurance. It is just 3 plus the number of skill points you put into it. Also, movement at its base is only based off agility. There is no longer any skill, such as survival, that adds to it by itself. So you must be careful. If you have an agility of 1, your character can literally move 1 square every turn.
Now check this. Right about now, I'm moving so fast, the whole world's going in slow motion, baby.
Other than that, that covers most of everything that's in there. Though do keep in mind now that Tamer talents and skill options that used to be a supplemental book are now in the core rulebook so that they can be accessed by everyone. And there are 2 for every single attribute and 2 for every skill at 3 and 5. I am not going to go through every single one of them in this video because again, that would take a long time. So if you're interested in knowing more about those, either let me know down in the comments, I'll make a video about it, or you can look into them yourself. Now we'll also look into what's changed about creating your Digimon. Now if you look at the base table for this, you can already see there are certainly many differences that are no longer here. That the starting DP is a lot lower than it used to be. You can already see that these numbers seem a lot lower. So you also see in the next column a starting stat number, which means that this may not be quite as much of a downgrade as you first think. So every single one of your stats, when you are that stage, start at that level. So for a rookie or a child at stage 1, every single one of your 5 base stats starts at 2. So therefore, you have 10 DP to add on top of that to buy your stats and qualities. You already have 10 points invested into your stats at a baseline. You'll also notice from this table that there's a very many things that have been removed from it. There are no bonus wound boxes for stage on this list, even though you do still get a bonus to your health equal to your stage bonus. It just doesn't state it here. There are no brains, because that has been completely removed from the game. There is no brains, body, or agility derived stats that you will have to worry about. And there are no bonus to your spec values just based off of your stage. So those have been removed. You will also notice that the number of attacks has definitely been changed, where it used to be only 2 for a rookie and then 1 went up by 1 all the way until Mega. Now it's 1, 3, 3, 3, and 4. So keep in mind when you're creating your Digimon that, yes, as a rookie, you have 1 additional attack that you will have to create. But do keep in mind that every single Digimon has a signature attack, which we'll get into more of that later. That's what takes up that extra slot. Now, your wound boxes for a Digimon equal your health stat times 2. which means health has become a lot stronger of a stat than it used to be, because it used to just be 1-to-1. So a lot of people just heavily invested in armor and barely paid attention to their health stat. This makes the health stat much more viable. When you are looking at a lot of different things, it refers to your base stat. This is whatever your stat equals, such as dodge, taking your DP that you put into it plus whatever you started with. So if you put 2 DP into it to dodge to make it 4, your base dodge is 4. If it's improved by another quality or something else, that is not applied to your base dodge. This is important when creating derived values and other things later. This maxes out at 20 until Mega, which, unless you are that heavily invested in one stat, probably won't be a big problem. There is a brand new derived stat, which is called your DOS stat, DOS. And for those of you who are really confused about the formulas of the previous ones, because it used brains, which was also a derived stat, and then divided by 3 and rounded down, or divided by 10, there were so many weird things that you had to do in order to derive your stats. I am happy to inform you they are now much simpler. If you look at this easy chart, your bit is just your accuracy, your base accuracy divided by 3. You will always round up in all these cases, so you have a minimum of 1. Your DOS is based on damage divided by 3, your RAM is your dodge divided by 3, and your CPO is armor divided by 3. And then for other derived stats, your wound boxes, it's really only a derived stat because if you look at this chart, I think it's much more confusing the way that they present it here. It's much easier the way they describe it elsewhere, but it's your stage plus your base health plus your total health, which is just kind of weird. The easier way to look at it is it's your stage plus your base health times 2. And then you add on after that, doubling any other odd qualities or something that you have to add to it, such as instinct. That's the much easier way to look at it. So if you're looking to improve your range, it still is based off of your accuracy. So your base range for any of your ranged attacks is 2 plus your bit. So many rookies, this might be 3, maybe 4 at most. You'll notice a lot of these numbers for movement and range have been nerfed greatly from the other thing. These things have been greatly scaled back. And your effective range is just your stage beyond your range. So for a rookie, your range and your effective range are only 1 different. And now your initiative is not based off agility, because agility no longer exists. It is now based purely off of your RAM. But also when considering your Digimon, you have to consider what size it is. Most rookies are small or medium generally.
You're,
Intimidating? Awe-inspiring?
tiny.
Of course. I'm travel size for your convenience. If I was my real size, your cow here would die of fright.
Now, this has many different implications based on your size. There are bonuses and penalties for size that are here, but there's a lot fewer other things that come with size. But if you want to increase your range, be a smaller Digimon, because that gives a bonus to bit. But every single one of these different values are now used to apply effects. There's different ones that do different things, so you always have to keep in mind, or different ones will add different sizes to your area attacks. They try to mix it up so that there is a reason to focus any one of these different values. CPU is good for clashing creatures still, so if you want to be good at clashing, it's still better to be a really big Digimon. These kind of things have remained the same and narrowed down. Your movement is now equal to just 2 plus your stage. So you're a rookie, you move 3 spaces. You're a champion, you move 4. That is the base, that is it. There is nothing else special to it unless you buy extra qualities to improve your movement speed. So, once again, you're not zipping across the field as much as you used to. Now, looking into effects is a very interesting thing because effects were a very large thing that I found very powerful in the system, and I still think they are very powerful, but there are a few things, especially with positive effects, that they have improved upon to make them a bit better. So when you're looking at effects, the maximum duration of effect is your stage plus 1. So it doesn't matter how well you roll on an effect, whether positive or negative. As a rookie, it will only last for a maximum of 2 rounds. So if an effect is a melee and a support ability, therefore none have the damage tag, this increases the potency by 1. You can only have 3 added tags from qualities to a single attack. So it puts a slight tempering down of just how many tags you can put on an attack, but it's hard to get too many more than that typically on an attack. Now, the big thing I was talking about is signature moves. Whenever you create a Digimon or a form, every single one has a move that you will add the signature tag to. What the signature attack does is it uses the battery system, which is a brand new system that wasn't in place before.
You got the power!
A Digimon can have batteries equal to its stage, so again, a rookie will only have one. On a turn, if you did not use your signature move, you gain a battery. So therefore, you cannot use your signature move on the first round. You have to wait until the second round, at least, to be able to use the signature move. Black Gaudamon's here to help us. Whenever you use a signature move, you expend every single one of these batteries. So you use up all of them, whether it's just one from a rookie, or if you had two as a champion, you use all of them whenever you use this attack. You must have this battery in order to use the signature move. And if this is applied to a damaging attack, you add the number of batteries to the accuracy and damage of the attack. Or if it's an effect attack, you add the battery to the potency of any effects that it would apply. And whenever the battle ends, you reset back down to 0 battery, so that you cannot hoard them from the previous battle in order to use in the next battle. Now, there are a whole different ton of qualities. Qualities have been added, qualities have been changed. So once again, that's beyond the purview of this video. But there is one thing that I want to go into this video about that is a whole new thing with qualities, and that is core qualities. Every single Digimon has a core discount of its stage +1. Therefore, a rookie will have a core discount of 2. That means it can either remove 2 from the cost of core qualities, which are marked as such, so you know which ones apply this discount. Basically, in general, it gives you 2 free qualities. The core qualities that are presented at the beginning of the book, and there's a couple later that also qualify for this, are data optimization, which for any of you who have played this system, these are usually very good ones that push your Digimon in a certain direction. If you want to be a melee attacker, a brawler, or a debuffer, these are very important for you to pick up, so you can pick it up now for free. Nature Walk, it also applies to this, which honestly wouldn't seem that impressive, but they have buffed it so that all of them give you some reduction to duration of status effects, so it could be useful. Instinctive Weapon now falls under core qualities. Extra Movement does, which is your ability to jump, swim, dig, or fly. Accelerate falls under that, so if you want a Digimon to have a little more than just the pitiful starting movement, that's also needed. And Prodigious Skill, if you want your Digimon to be able to do some skills and not just leave that all to your tamer. Which is especially important because many of the qualities now require skills, not just things like sneaking, in order for them to be used. And that's all of the changes that you need to know if you want to make a tamer or a Digimon in this new version of Digimon Digital Adventure. Now, there are so many other changes, including new actions, the way initiative works. There are many other changes that I will go into in another video. But if you're just looking to make a character, that's what you need to know. This is Black Gaudaman, and I am Rordrik. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to know more, let me know down in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, everyone, remember to be awesome. And if you want to know more about Digimon Digital Adventure, why don't you click on these videos here that'll show you more about how to create and play in this wonderful tabletop game.